Hello there, welcome to ShineTech's YouTube channel, and I'm going to talk about the mechanism of action of hormones under endocrinal system. So before we look at that, let's first define what a hormone is. So a hormone or hormones are simply secretory products of ductless glands released in the bloodstream and transported to specific target organs or cells where they elicit physiologic and biochemical responses. So that's the definition of a hormone or hormones. So they are simply secretory products. Okay, they are released in the bloodstream, and then from there they are transported to specific target organs. So the target can be an organ or can be a cell. And then from there they are going to produce a physiologic or biochemical or even a morphological reaction or response. Okay, so mechanism of action of hormones. So we have about 4 of them, but in this video I'm going to cover only 2 actions of hormones. So the first one is action through change in the membrane permeability, and the second one is the action through effect on gene expression by binding of hormones with intracellular receptors. So let's look at the first one, which is the action through change in the permeability, in the membrane permeability. So this action is simply where the hormone causes the membrane to be permeable to certain ion channels. So we have the cell membrane here, which have certain ion channels. Okay, and then what will happen here is that we are going to have a hormone which is secreted by a gland in the bloodstream there. Then from there it is going to bind on these receptors. Now once the hormone binds, these ion channels are going to open and to lead to influx of certain ions such as sodium, potassium, or even calcium. It depends on the channel which is opened. Okay, so what happens here is that we have a hormone there which has binded. Then from there we have seen we have influx of ions inside the cell membrane. So an example of hormones which acts in this way are catecholamines such as epinephrine and norepinephrine, and also we have adrenaline. So those are certain hormones which can bind on certain receptors on the cell membrane and leading to influx of certain ions depending on the channel which is being activated. So that's how the hormones act through change in the permeability of a membrane. So once these channels have been opened, we are going to see the permeability increasing. Okay, so the second action or the second mechanism of action of hormones is action through effect on gene expression by binding of hormones with intracellular receptors. So what happens here is that we have certain hormones which can travel in the blood while binded to proteins. So we can have a protein, and then from there we can have a hormone. Once released, it is going to bind to a certain protein because some hormones are lipophilic, meaning they are lipid in nature and they cannot travel on their own since they are not soluble in water, in plasma to be specific. So once they are released by the gland, they are going to bind to certain proteins such as albumin, and then from there they are going to be transported to specific cells where they are going to perform their action. So let's see how these actions are performed. Okay, so I have seen that is a hormone there which has bind to a certain receptor, then diffuses in the nucleus. mRNA is released, which is packaged by the Golgi apparatus, and then from there we have the release of a protein. Okay, So that's really what happens here. So we have this hormone here. It has diffuses it has diffused across the cell membrane. Why? Because it is lipophilic. It is soluble. It is lipid soluble, and then from there is a receptor inside the cell of the same hormone, and it's going to bind to that receptor. Then that hormone receptor complex will diffuse inside the nucleus. Then once in the nucleus, we have a certain portion on the DNA, which is called hormone sensitive element, where that hormone receptor complex is going to bind and initiate transcription of mRNA, which is going to be translated by the ribosomes and in the rough endoplasmic reticulum. And then from there, it is going to the protein which is produced by translation of the mRNA is prepackaged by the Golgi apparatus and then released in the cytoplasm or diffuses in the blood, where it is going to perform its function. So this is the action of these hormones. Okay, so we have the mRNA there, which has been produced. So it has been translated, and we have the release of a protein. So this protein can be an enzyme, or it can be another hormone which is going to be released in the cytoplasm here or in the bloodstream and perform another function. So that is the action through the effect on gene expression, okay, of hormones by binding on intracellular receptors. Remember, these receptors are inside the cell. So we have other actions, which are actions through secondary messenger, which activate intracellular enzymes when hormones combine with hormone receptors. And then also have actions through tyrosine kinase activation, but those are going to be covered in another video. So thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like if at all you like the video, and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Then from there, leave your comment in the comment section below.